Good evening, everybody. This is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. It is around 8:30 p.m. and it's quite nice outside, but I was just looking up at the sky and we've got some heavy-duty writing. So check it out, folks. This one right here, this is actually right over my house. Right there. And they did some down there already. And up here, there was an X up here. And then there's an X here, and then there was an X here. Look at that, folks. Do the skies look like this where you live? Check it out, folks. I hope everybody's having a good day. I'm exhausted, actually. I think I mentioned that I had 8 new barred rock baby chicks and 30 baby guinea hens. Half of the guinea hens have died. It has been absolutely devastating. I believe they're shipped way too young and they gang up on each other at night. They're doing okay during the day, except for there are 2 times when I walked away for about half an hour and I returned and one was dead. This happened twice. I believe that the criminals that are on my property have done that, but I have witnessed in the evening when the chickies go to sleep, they bunch up in a corner, and some of the smaller ones that get underneath, they're suffocating. They're actually dying or becoming injured. I've never experienced this before. I've never had baby guinea hens, only baby chicks, and they don't do this kind of behavior. So it's been very emotionally draining, for sure. It's very upsetting. I mean, anytime a life unnecessarily is ended, especially an animal, it really bothers me. But I've been having so many difficulties with my lawnmower because the criminals have sabotaged it to the point where it hardly functions well anymore. So I've been having a very difficult time just even cutting the grass. It's just unbelievable. But this is what the skies look like now. They were perfectly clear. Very clear. Oh, and I wanted to also mention that I have been watching all of the berry plants that I planted in the springtime. I planted red raspberry, black raspberry, blueberry, all kinds of berries, and they were growing. They were fruiting, which was really nice. So they were all starting to fruit, and then overnight, the criminals were on my property and they actually burned to a crisp every one of them. Let me show you. Do you see this? These were juicy berries, and now they are crispy critters. They're hard as a rock, charred, burned, completely burned, every one of them, here and here. And no, folks, this is not from the weather. Completely burned to a crisp. And with all the rain we've been having, these should have been nice and juicy. And they burned them to a crisp actually before the rain. It was in the evening. I woke up and they were all charred. These are not the only ones. The ones in front of my house are like that also. And then the criminals decided they were going to do some extra gardening. So what they did is they transplanted some of my ground cherries. And let me show you what they did. And this is not anything new, folks. They started this nonsense in Manalapan, New Jersey, in the house that I lived in. for 30 years as the original owner, 52 Sutton Drive. So what they did is they do extrajudicial planting. So here I've got cloth all, underneath here, cardboard and stuff, and they plant weeds everywhere, just everywhere. But you see this huge plant? I didn't plant this. This is a ground cherry shrub that was growing on my porch. One morning I walked out and it was gone. Well, guess where it is? Here. And then the criminals also performed this work of art. This is new. I just bought this last year, but they did this. Can you see that they completely burned this out? They cut it out with a laser or whatever. Look, check it out. Look, they did this. Brand new. But it doesn't matter if something is new or not. They come onto the property. They're being paid to do this nonsense to me. This is unbelievable. So the criminals that placed me in this program, the ones that can't face me, the ones that can't have a conversation because their egos are so crushed, and rather than have an intelligent conversation and work things out, they have to place me in a torture program for at least now 10 years. And some of you listening have been harassed for longer. Some people have been in this program, unfortunately, from birth, targeted from birth. I don't believe that's the case for me. I had a very prosperous life. Pretty much if I worked at something hard enough, I would be successful. And I was very successful. Had a lot of friends, a lot of acquaintances. I belonged to a lot of clubs and organizations. And this program just sabotaged my entire life. And even on this property that I spend hours and hours caring for, they'll send somebody to work for me who starts out good, and then they do something to destroy something where it costs me a lot more money to repair. I just got a quote of $7,400 to fix that building at the top of the hill. The one that I added a new roof to, this one here. Let me focus in here. This building, when I moved here, it was a pavilion building, which means it was completely open. Completely open. So I decided I was going to put a new roof on it because it suddenly started leaking. I installed a new roof and then I enclosed it. New vinyl siding, beautiful new windows, a steel door, deadbolts. I bought ceiling fans for it, wired electricity through it. And then started the sheetrocking, and the person that did the sheetrocking did a horrible job. And now it has to all be removed because there's mold. And the mold didn't get there just on its own, folks. These perpetrator criminals have helped it along. They very much destroy homes, apartments with mold, fungus, insects, bugs, dust. They love spiders. Spider seems to be a favorite of theirs because spiders make webs and catch other little critters. You know, it becomes very unsightly. But yeah, see that building up there? I wanted to have it for my family and friends for when they visit me. And also, you know, to possibly rent it out certain times of the year. I do live on the edge of a national forest, and there are people that would like a place to stay when they are camping, hiking, etc. And this is a beautiful place. It really is. But I can't get good help here. The proverbial, I can't get good help. And ironically, I've spoken to other people who said that they would never hire anybody from this town to work. And then other people said the same thing, that they have a very difficult time finding workers. They just can't find them. So they end up doing the work themselves. That's one of the drawbacks about living here, is that if you can't do it yourself, it's virtually impossible to find anyone to help. And even when you do, it's actually costing me more money to pay for labor here than it did in New Jersey. Yes, I mean, I paid my handyman in New Jersey. He was retired, and he was an electrician also. He was retired. And I paid him, this was his choice, I paid him $12 an hour, and then whatever the materials would be, you know, I would pay, and the tax and all of that stuff. And here, people want to charge you $20 an hour, $15, $30 an hour. It's absolutely insane. It's much more than New Jersey. And nobody around here gives you guarantees. They don't accept credit cards. They all want cash or a check. They don't want any way for them to track the money they're getting paid. So they're not even legitimate businesses. I'm sorry that the camera is moving, but I'm holding packages from my mail that I just retrieved. I thought I had all of my mail today, because the mailman came straight to my door, and now I'm finding a whole bunch of stuff in my mailbox. Surprise, surprise. So that's what's going on here, folks. I'm a little winded. I'm a little tired. I have not been sleeping well. And the criminals at 4:08 a.m. shot a weapon, a firearm, up there. Back up in there. The same approximate location as the M50 fireworks that they shot off last week. And you see what they did to my gate here? Check it out. They scratched all the paint off. Do you see all the different colors there? Those are all the different colors this fence was. Because since I'm living here, I have painted it now probably 5 times. Each time I paint it, the morons come by and scratch it a little at a time, a little at a time. You just can't get ahead. Everything I do is sabotaged. They are envious, jealous. They want to make it appear as if I don't care for my property, when that's all I do, literally all day long. Except for when I'm caring for the animals and the inside of my house and eating, or watching a YouTube video and responding to emails. I am working on this property, cutting the grass. It takes me 4 hours at a minimum. And caring for the animals is very time consuming. And then there's the sabotage, the incredible amount of sabotage, them breaking things. And I work so hard on my garden, and I have those berries. I got them from little seedlings, little saplings, I should say. I had, I don't know, about a dozen of them, and they're finally fruiting. And these criminals come onto the property and scorch them. Every one of the berries is scorched. And because they scorched it, it will not grow again in that location. A lot of times these trees and shrubs, they will fruit over and over and over again. You can pick the fruit, and then more fruit will grow. But they have completely scorched it, preventing it from growing fruit. They did the same thing with my apricot tree. They destroyed my apricot tree last year. And you see all this mess on my grass? This is from the lawnmower, that they have sabotaged my lawnmower. They punctured holes in it, cracked the carburetor. I mean, it's just unbelievable what they do here. It is just unbelievable. And they did very similar things in New Jersey. But I was going to move in New Jersey anyway. I have no intentions of moving. It's just I need to get somebody to live here. If you have an RV and you need a place to park, if you want to do a food co-op, rent or work the farm, the fields, you know, we can barter. You can do it for free. And, you know, I would receive 20% of the crops that are yielded. We can work the field together and grow a food forest. And that's what I would like to do. That's what I wanted to do, because this is a lot of grass to cut. And all of this could be food. All of this grass could be trees, corn, fruit, vegetables, and not all this useless grass, which is very tedious and time consuming. I'm probably going to have to now buy another lawnmower or a zero turn, which is like $3,500, folks. So anyway, I'm just rambling right now, but I hope everybody's having a good day and a good weekend. The weather is calm for now. We are expecting some rain tomorrow. Like a lot of people have emailed me to ask me if I was safe. And the areas that were devastated, literally that some of the towns are underwater and the houses have washed away. Devastating. It reminds me of Hurricane Sandy. Was a little further southeast. And I believe there were 4 or 5 towns that had a lot of damage. It's heartbreaking. I mean, it could happen to anybody. And given what we just looked at the sky, you know, it can happen to anybody. But have a great weekend, everybody. And anyone who wants to be on my URL's mailing list or wants copies of any of the documents that I've read out loud, feel free to email me at alternativehomesteading@gmail.com.